Are you a fan of Bomas but don't want to take the trek all the way over to Animal Kingdom Lodge? Do you wish there were character interactions to go along with that African-inspired food? Find out if Tusker House may be the option you're looking for. Today on Walt Disney World, Adults Only. Welcome, Your Royal Highnesses. I'm Carol, and you're watching Walt Disney World Adults Only. Today, I'd like to talk about one of my favorite restaurants, Tusker House. Tusker House is located in Africa, in Animal Kingdom. I'd like to tell you a bit about the restaurant itself, and then I'll get some opinions from my team members, how they feel about the experience there before I share mine. Before we start, please tell us in the comments below if you've eaten here before and how you'd rate the food. Tusker House is an African-themed restaurant. It's beautifully decorated. You really feel like you're inside Africa as you're eating. It is a character buffet, and the characters are wearing safari-style clothing. So here you'll meet Mickey, Goofy, Donald, and Daisy. And they're all wearing their safari outfits. The food right now is family style, but it is all you can eat family style. For breakfast, it's $42 for adults. They start with a bread basket. Now, the bread basket, typical Disney fashion, they're going to theme their bread basket. And so the first piece of bread you see, it's a flat bread, but it looks like it has a leopard pattern to it. So there's probably rye, pumpernickel, and white. I'm not sure what the makings are, but it has the pattern of little sections, so you're looking like you're eating a piece of leopard bread. There are croissants, multigrain bread, cornbread, served with whipped butter, chocolate hazelnut spread, and strawberry preserves. There's an assortment of fresh fruit and yogurt, and the main breakfast platter consists of scrambled eggs, Mickey and Simba waffles, Durban chicken and egg curry over jasmine rice, and bacon, sausage, and roasted potatoes. So this is something a little not traditional. So you get an African flavor, but your whole meal isn't African inspired. There is $55 per adult. Starts with assorted house-made breads served with hummus, coriander, and mango chutneys. There's also an African-inspired salad, which is a green salad with citrus vinaigrette dressing. Entrees include Moroccan spice beef, spit roasted herb chicken, Cape Malay green curry shrimp, and Berber marinated pork. There's also sides of green beans with carrots and corn, jasmine rice, impossible Durban curry, roasted potatoes, and house-made macaroni and cheese. For dessert, there's animal-inspired mini desserts and chocolate mousse upon request. Other thing that you will find here is affectionately known as jungle juice or pog juice, papaya, guava, and orange juice. And that again is unlimited. You can drink as much as you want. You can also have a mimosa using the pog juice instead of orange juice. So the restaurant itself has 3.5 main sections, I would say, as you walk in. There's a main section where the buffet normally is served. There's a room off to the left, and then there's a room off to the right that is sort of divided into 2 sections. So as the characters go through, you're only going to see them where you are sitting. You're not going to see them through the whole restaurant. They also do a nice little dance besides individual character meetings, which at this point you can take selfies. You can't hug them, but they do also do sort of a dance throughout the whole restaurant, which is sort of fun to watch. The theming is complete from the floor up to the ceiling. Colorful scarves, lots of wood, just very, very African inspired. Now that I've given you an overview of the restaurant, let's get some reviews. Dan, I know it's been a long time since you've been able to come to Disney. Did you visit Tusker House on your last trip?
Yes, Carol, I last visited Walt Disney World in 2019 and I had breakfast at Tusker House on that trip. I also had lunch there on the trip before, and I believe that they are my only 2 dining experiences at this restaurant. On both occasions I was on the Disney dining plan, and I have to say it was a really, really effective use of 1 table service credit. If you're paying out of pocket though, it's blooming expensive, and I'm not convinced I would pay out of pocket to dine here. In summary, my review of Tusker House is terrible service, good food, but not as good as the food at Boma. The characters here were really great fun, but I probably wouldn't rush back to dine here again on a future trip. Let me tell you why. So for the service, let's start with the terrible check-in process. You check in before your reservation time and you're given a pager. On both of my visits, I was still waiting with that pager over 45 minutes after my reservation time. That is wasted park time that I could be going on rides and experiencing other things. And I actually missed one of my fast pass selections due to this extended wait. Of course I told them I was unhappy, but to say they were indifferent would be an over exaggeration. This kind of seemed normal to them. They didn't seem fazed by the fact they were keeping us waiting for so long. There was no apology, no empathy. And I kind of left feeling they really didn't care, they were wasting my park time. And then I have to say, on both occasions, the server at the table kind of just rushed us through our meal. Constantly rushing. There was no Disney magic in that service experience at all. It seemed they wanted to turn the table over nice and quick to get our tip and then get somebody else in to give them another tip. It didn't feel special at all. Now onto a positive, the character meet and greets here were great. They were really fun, interactive, they spent a lot of time at the table, they posed for photos, and on the first occasion, the lunch, it was an adult only trip, so they spent a lot of time with us, which I thought was really, really good. In fact, I would rate both of the character interactions on both of my visits as being exceptional, and I really loved their little costumes at Tusker House too. Now for the food, and there was absolutely nothing wrong with the food, except maybe a little bit of mauling by the kids that you get at all character buffets. Now there was a really good selection of food at both breakfast and lunch, with some unique items that you'd only find here, or perhaps maybe at Boma as well. And speaking of Boma, on both of my visits, I couldn't help but compare the food of Tusker House and Boma, and I have to say that Boma is superior in terms of food choice and quality in every single way. For both breakfast and lunch, I left Tusker House feeling both full up and enjoying the food that I'd had. I had some nice cocktails, and I totally adore the pog juice they do there too. The food just wasn't memorable to me, and I would really struggle to tell you what I had. As a Disney foodie, and I pride myself on knowing my Disney restaurants and my Disney food, I find that quite an accolade. Would I dine here again? Probably not, to be honest. Would I refuse to dine here? Of course not. It wasn't horrible by any stretch of the imagination, but I do really object to bad service and to them wasting my park time on 2 occasions. I think there are much better buffets at Walt Disney World, and if paying out of pocket, I think I would really struggle to justify the cost of this one. If I had the dining plan, then I guess maybe it would be more appealing to me. If paying out of pocket though, I don't think I'd pay it. If I was going to dine table service at Animal Kingdom on my next trip, I would most definitely rather go to Yak and Yeti or to Tiffin's, or I'd rather jump on a bus across to Animal Kingdom Lodge and go to Boma, Sanaa or Jiko. Any of these restaurants for me are better than Tusker House. If you haven't done it though, and you want to meet these characters and want to see these little safari outfits, then definitely do it. It isn't terrible, but as you can hear, I'm not raving about it either. And I'm really sorry about that, Carol, as I know how much you love this restaurant. Natalie, I know you've just returned from a trip to Walt Disney World. Did you go to Tusker House on this trip?
That's right, Dan. I had a wonderful trip to Walt Disney World in November, and you know how much I love character dining, so of course I had to visit Tusker House. Now, I normally do my character dining for breakfast, but Tusker House isn't currently open for breakfast, so we mixed it up a little bit and went for lunch. To make it even more special, this was my birthday lunch. Now, before when I visited Tusker House, it's been a buffet, but this time it's obviously family style. We actually found the family style dining to be really good and much better for us. As my server said, it's even less effort for us. We had a really attentive server, which made everything run very smoothly for us, and we really enjoyed the meal. Normally for a buffet, one of us is getting up and going and getting things and coming back, and it's a bit of an interrupted. The bread service to start with was great, and I enjoyed all the breads and dip. My favourite one was the mango chutney. However, I did find the bread service to be a little bit filling, and if I had known how good the main course was going to be, I probably would have saved a little bit of extra room. We had a massive platter brought out to us. There were 4 of us to share for the mains, and it was all delicious. We actually found the favourite one to be the Moroccan spiced beef, and we asked for a little bit of everything else to be brought out afterwards, as we managed to finish everything, except for the shrimp. Now, there was nothing wrong with the shrimp. I heard it was very good. However, I don't eat seafood, and my family are not very big into seafood either, so that's the only reason why we didn't get more. I have to say, the desserts looked really nice, but they were the weakest course of the 3 courses that we had. Now, this might have been a little bit skewed, as I was surprised by my family with a white chocolate Mickey Mouse birthday cake, which was absolutely amazing. I couldn't stop smiling for about 20 minutes after it was brought out to me. So the desserts got a little bit diminished in front of the cake. The meal overall was great, and although at $55 plus tip and tax, it was a little bit steep. But when you factor in the atmosphere, the fun, the service that you got, and the quality of the food, I actually think for Disney pricing, it was worth it. And we all said we would happily go back again. The weakest element for myself was the character interaction. Now, this isn't to say that the character interaction was bad, it's just not what I was used to. And for the restrictions in place, it was actually pretty good. I got to take some really good photos, but I miss hugging Mickey Mouse. Overall, I love Tusker House. So Taylor, I know you're not a fan of buffets, but have you eaten here?
Yeah, Natalie, you're right. Buffets aren't my favorite style of restaurant, and character buffets can be even trickier. But I have dined at Tusker House. Tusker House was actually one of my first forays back into character dining as an adult. I ate there for lunch technically, even though we hit it at the very tail end of breakfast back in 2016. So apologies if my memories aren't super great. We chose Tusker House for that trip because we were on the Disney dining plan, which it seemed to be a really good value for that dining credit, and because we wanted something a little bit unique, a little bit different during our Animal Kingdom day, and Tusker House checked all of those boxes. As I mentioned, it was right at, I want to say 10:30, so some of the breakfast items were still on the buffet, and then throughout our meal, they were changed out for all of the lunch items. None of the food really sticks out in my mind. I know we had bobotie for the first time, and that was okay, but thinking back, I honestly don't remember a standout from this meal except for one thing, and that is Pog Juice. Tusker House was my introduction to Pog Juice. I think I had 5 cups. I could not stop drinking it, and if I go somewhere and Pog Juice is an option, I get it. It is so delicious. I know I've talked about it on this channel before in other videos, but it will always be my favorite. So with the food just being okay, in my opinion, I thought the theming was really, really nice. Tusker House fits really great in that Africa section of Animal Kingdom, and it's really immersive once you get in there with that big grand room and then the smaller rooms with the nice theming off of that. I really enjoyed that part of the meal. And something that they did for this meal that I've noticed other character dining restaurants also do now that I've done more and I love, is that as an adult only party, my husband and I, they sort of seated us tucked away in a back corner. And I've noticed this happen again and again and again in other character dining restaurants. And all of the tables around us also didn't have children. So it makes for a little bit of a quieter experience. The characters move through a little bit quicker, which is fine, in my opinion. I'm not necessarily going to these restaurants for the characters, and I love that. And I have noticed that to be a theme throughout character dining, that if you're an adult-only party, they'll sit you with only adult parties, which props to Disney for that decision. And I think that the character interactions at Tusker House were really great. You know, you meet those 4 main characters in their safari uniforms, which is super duper cute. They were great with our adult only table, and all of the tables around us, you know, spent a nice little amount of time. The table behind us, we took pictures for them and they took pictures for us. So pre-COVID days, can you even imagine? And it was really, really nice. And you know, it's fun to interact on that more personal level. But with a buffet and character dining, you do have to sort of plan when you're going to stand up and get food, because you don't want to miss those character interactions. You're paying a higher price for them. So I do remember having a little bit of a harder time, like sitting and waiting, even though I could go get more food, because I saw that Goofy was 4 tables away, and if I got up, I may miss it. I may be overthinking it, but that is something to take into consideration, that it might not be as quick of a meal if there are characters walking around. The service was just okay. We did have to wait kind of long in between him coming back to our table to see if we needed anything, but it was really, really busy and he was nice, but it didn't blow me away by any means. Personally, don't have any plans to return to Tusker House in the future. I think there are a lot of better African meals in Animal Kingdom and then in Animal Kingdom Lodge as well. I haven't tried Boma, but watching the video about Boma on our channel, which I'm sure is linked down below, I want to try it now, even though buffets aren't my favorite thing. All the presenters made it seem like a really good option, so I would definitely try that before I ever return to Tusker House. Okay, Carol, this restaurant is in Animal Kingdom, and that means you must have dined here. Am I right?
Yes, Taylor, I have eaten at Tusker House often, but only for breakfast. I love Boma so much that given the choice between the two, I'm always going to take that little extra trip to Animal Kingdom Lodge and go for Boma. While the choices sound delicious, there are just so many more salads and soups at Boma. That's my go-to. So I've eaten both at the buffet style and family style. This last trip was family style. Actually, it was sort of nice not having to get up and overload my plate like I always do at a buffet. Even though I'm taking a small amount of each, I have to try this and this and this, and all of a sudden I have a huge plate. So the fact that it was coming out in a skillet reduced my choices. There were also fewer choices in the family style than there would be in the traditional buffet. But the portion in the original serving was quite large. The server actually had to talk us into getting a second something, and we got the roasted potatoes and the waffles. Carbs all the way, I guess. Like he felt bad, like we weren't getting enough for our money, so we had to have more. We had, I think, 6 glasses of the jungle juice between the two of us. We didn't have them as mimosas. We could have. I've had them in the past at the buffet, and the mimosas made with the jungle juice is just absolutely delicious. It takes a little bit of that tartness away that you're going to find when you just use orange juice. If you're going to do a mimosa, highly recommend the jungle juice mimosas. Our server was lovely. We were leaving and he asked us where we were going, and we happened to be going to the safari. So he actually showed us a back door to get out of the restaurant that made us quite close to the safari rather than having to walk all the way around the restaurant, which I thought was really, really sweet. The food itself, character breakfasts are pretty traditional in what they serve, the waffles, the eggs, etc. for breakfast. But again, you had some African-inspired themes here. The eggs were scrambled eggs. I don't know how you can improve or unimprove scrambled eggs, but these scrambled eggs were really, really delicious. I don't know what they do to make them more special. Must be pixie dust sprinkled on them or something. I don't know, but they were good. And of course, you know me, love the safari. Seeing Mickey in his little safari hat and little outfit, green outfit with all the pockets, is just too adorable for words. So I would definitely come back here again. Eventually, I know I'm going to have to try dinner. Sadly, that will be when I'm not able to get a Boma reservation. This would be my backup choice. So all in all, I think Tusker House is a great choice if you want to sample some African-inspired foods, but aren't sure if that's your bag. There's plenty of traditional food here to try as well. And of course, seeing Mickey in his safari hat is just too cute for words. Have we convinced you to try it? Still have questions? Feel free to post them in the comments below and we'll make sure we get back to you.
Thank you for watching this video. If you like it, please give a big thumbs up and share it with your friends.
And subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, clicking that bell so you get a notification when our next video premieres.
If you're not already a member of our fantastic Walt Disney World Adults Only Facebook page, please join today. The link is in the description down below. We'll be continuing this discussion along with many, many more.
And remember, never grow up.